in, these control decks have existed for years, sometimes in like standstill shells or sometimes as like sinkhole tombstalker decks, but now this is very, Deathrite Shaman, control goodies, and planeswalker oriented.
Ruben described this deck earlier as just basically like the next level of Rug Delver. Like this is just a Rug Delver deck, and it's built on obtaining tempo and moving parts very quickly, like tapping. It doesn't have like a lot of the long game of what we've seen of some other bug control decks in Legacy, with things like standstills and the long game inevitabilities based around Liliana the Veil and Life from Loam. It's just much more straightforward. It actually just clocks the bejesus out of you with Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah.
And it's also not like the kind of resource denial decks that we might have seen in a Team America, right? Like Sinkhole and stifling your lands and everything. These are pretty straightforward cards for the most part.
Right.
It's like discard that card, let me cantrip up a little bit. AJ's deck's kind of a little strangely built, in my opinion. Not strange, not in a bad way, but like if you just line up his 60 cards, he's got like 2 Abrupt Decays, and that's it. Like if you want to put a creature out, he might Abrupt Decay it, and if he doesn't, they're probably not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's got some Lilianas and some Jaces, but yeah.
He can't really aim with those that well. But he does have 4 Thoughtseize and 4 Force of Will, which actually, a configuration like this with Vendilion Click, Force of Will, Thoughtseize, and not a whole lot of creature kill, it's pretty good against a deck like Hive Mind in the top 8.
And on your left you see Weston Brown, who's an LA area player that I've ran into a couple of times. He's playing Hive Mind, which is a deck that was extremely popular back when Mental Misstep was the scourge of the format, since it was a combo deck that could avoid that card. It's become more of a fringe player in the metagame, but Weston has been playing in the last couple of events at least. And
with Hive Mind all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Hive Mind deck, if you guys don't know, it's often gets Hive Mind in play using the card Show and Tell. You can just cast it though. Does he have Yep, he has the Grim Monolith version, so you can just summon a Hive Mind. And then when Hive Mind's in play, anytime you cast a spell, everybody casts that spell, and you can just cast a pact, and then your opponent can't pay for it, and they die.
Yep.
So that's the plan. And, because he's got Show and Tell, he can just Show and Tell Emrakul the Aeon's Torn.
So a turn 1 Flooded Strand from Weston, turn 1 Ponder from AJ.
That's a Flooded Strand? What?
Yeah, it's some doodles on it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what's the art on that?
Yeah. It's like a shark monster or something that's been drawn on.
So just an island from AJ Sacher. What kind of island is that, Patrick?
I think that's...
Well, what kind of island is that one on the left-hand side?
That's a beta island.
It's a beta island. Looks like it was signed by...
I feel like that's an Innistrad, something recent. I don't know. That one actually is outside of my purview, unfortunately.
It's the first time we've seen you stunt this
I
weekend.
Know. I'm usually an assassin with the basic land artwork, but not this time. Sometimes they're so layperson that I wouldn't know.
It's just like reading the newspaper.
Right. Like what do you order at McDonald's? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what the best thing on the menu is, So Weston trying to stick a Grim Monolith here.
So, let's see. And AJ's got a Force of Will. He can Force of Will that maybe if he wanted to. I don't think he would Force of Will a Grim Monolith, do you?
No,
it's perfectly good Show and Tells and Hive Minds that you might want to Force of Will instead.
Right. Monolith is good for Weston, but he certainly doesn't need it to assemble a kill.
So AJ with a Brainstorm. So Ponder followed by Brainstorm. And he has another Brainstorm in hand. The basic island's actually kind of poopy in terms of his interaction. Like, say there are not a whole lot of targets that Weston has for, say, AJ's Abrupt Decay, but Grim Monolith's actually a perfectly great one.
Yeah.
He can't come anywhere close to casting that.
In updates from another part of our bracket, Jacob Kobe won the first game on turn 1, so that's pretty sweet.
So we picked the wrong match.
Sorry, Corey. Yeah, I don't know.
He's your friend, even.
I know,
IRL.
but it came up on the prompt. So you just read off the prompt.
This is like
I know. I'm sorry.
Dan Quayle with the potatoes with tomatoes.
I'm sorry.
You cost President Bush the second election.
I'm sorry, Jacob. The prompter did it. Anyhow, AJ still going over his own 5,000-word dissertation on brainstorming in his head as he's resolving this one.
He loves brainstorm.
He loves thinking about brainstorm. That's for sure.
And
Perhaps as a slightly less precocious youth.
so he just puts his Pluto Delta directly into the graveyard.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. And gets an underground sea. Hideous underground sea.
I don't fault anyone for that. Those things are not cheap. I'm willing to bet that one's not even AJ's. I would actually bet everything.
You bet everything?
Yeah.
Every penny that's not AJ's?
Yes.
Well, we are in Vegas. How did the Dolphins do today?
They lost by 2 touchdowns. And there's a Deathrite Shaman.
So, Deathrite Shaman, kind of the centerpiece of AJ's bug deck these days, right?
Yeah.
It can dome, it can make manas, it can gain life, it can stymie Snapcaster mages and reanimation spells.
Brainstorm Weston, and if I'm in Weston's position, I'm feeling a lot of pressure this turn to do something good with the Grim Monolith because it could get tagged by Abrupt Decay, and losing your Monolith to an otherwise pretty dead Decay is...
It's just depressing.
It's a bad exchange, yeah.
So...
So
what do you think about Brainstorm? Do you think it's good for Magic players to have a card like that?
certainly, if something's going to be the most powerful in a thing like in a format like Legacy, I'm actually fine with it being Brainstorm because it's pretty non-invasive. Like when you're resolving Brainstorm, it's certainly powerful, but it's not ruining my time in the game. It's not preventing me from doing what I want to do. So if something's going to be powerful, it's probably better for it to be something that's just good and kind of proactively good for me, and not so much something that's preventing you from playing the game, which is when Legacy's frustrating or annoying. It's because the game is too much about.
Well, there's too many wastelands and Himdator.
Yeah,
it's just mulligans.
Right, it's too much of that stuff. So
here's another scribbled on. Is that probably a beta land?
Yeah, another monolith.
So, I mean, Weston will soon be in a position to just hard cast Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, right? Is that 9 already?
Yeah, we're not that far off.
Actually,
we're within.
just
I mean,
cast it. The construction of the Hivemind deck has always bedeviled me.
what do you mean?
Like, why is 3 Grim Monolith right? That's just
Because you don't want a ton. You don't want a ton of mana, and the second monolith's usually not that good.
The first one you want that a lot.
In some matchups, it's definitely not a requirement. You want it. Where the monolith is the most valuable is against decks where show and telling is a dubious proposition, where you just want to be hard casting your hive mind.
Sure. So it's like somebody could put their own Emrakul in play. Or
Yeah. Have something sweet to put into play, and
perhaps
Angel of Despair.
Caracas.
Yeah.
So AJ Sacher, he just must be like a pig in because he gets to cast all these ponders and brainstorms. It's like his favorite.
He's looking
thing.
at a hand of just more ponders and brainstorms as he's resolving this
And
ponder.
he just like must be so happy.
Trying to find the exact precise moment to crack his fetch land, and just couldn't be happier.
I mean, like his Deathrite Shaman, he's probably thinking it was like, "Ooh, this could make blue even."
Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah.
You would never know it from looking at the border, but it could make blue. I could use that blue to cast yet another brainstorm.
Yeah.
But poor Weston doesn't know that it's just nothing but ponders and brainstorms. He's like, oh man, this kid's hand must be insane.
Well, he does have a
bunch of cards.
yeah,
many cards.
a lot of blue spells. I think he's got at least one force. He's got a Thoughtseize too.
Is he scouring now?
Well, he just brainstormed, so he's just trying to.
Oh, just getting rid of the poop?
Yeah. Didn't want the Abrupt Decay.
Just right into
Which is totally fine from AJ's perspective. I think the Abrupt Decay is totally legitimate when Weston only has one monolith, but with the second one now, it's not even worth trying to kill the first one.
So he's
making a mana.
Making a McManus. A color of indeterminate. Just brainstorming again?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to find another land drop so he can Thoughtseize and then maybe set up Jace next turn.
Well, he has the red blue one that he just drew from Thoughtscour, no?
I think he actually just peeled his land off of that one.
Yeah, so he could play the land.
right?
No, off of the brainstorm he just cast just now.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I think it's the last card. I thought he revealed a red-blue land off of that Thought Scour and put it into his grip. Although I don't see it here now. Maybe he's like a stage magician and he's hidden it from view. It's like maybe it's the prestige.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe there's a stack of men's hats somewhere in Colorado. So AJ Sacher teleports more and more red-blue dual lands. All right. And yeah, there it is.
Finally.
It was there all along. He prestiged it. There were always two men. One of them had an injured hand.
So, yep, AJ. 1,000,000 cantrips and shuffles and self-milling to turn his hand from a 9.2 out of 10 to a 9.25 out of 10.
The best would be like, for my last trick, Thought Scour again. And is it going to be
for my
Thoughtseize?
final trick?
There we go.
A Thoughtseize.
Let us see the hand of Mr. Weston Brown. So Weston's thinking. So intuition. Is it force of will, intuition? Oh, is it pact of negation? Is the last one? This is kind of atrocious for AJ, right? So Weston can go intuition with monolith and island 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Hardcast Hive Mind, Pact of... Oh, he can't Pact of Negation nothing, right?
Right, but it means that any spell that gets cast for the rest of the game is lethal.
So AJ's got a Force of Will, but he's going to get forced back. I think that the right pull is Force of Will because of that, right?
I think it's Pact of Negation because like Weston's kind of log jammed on cards. He might not be able to do everything and pitch the force, but Pact of Negation's a free roll.
I don't know. Okay. Looks like AJ agrees with you.
Okay, so yeah, Weston just doesn't have a ton of cards, total sum of cards. So
I mean, if I'm Weston, I don't know. I think I'd be very tempted to intuition and try to go off right here. I mean, at least get Hive Mind in play rather than not. Unless he just pulled Pact of the Titan or something, in which case I would definitely try to go for it. There's just no question that the team would be trying. He has like exactly the mana to intuition and go for Hive Mind, right?
Yeah. He has 9 mana.
Yeah.
3 + 6.
Yeah. Exact so's. Yep, here it comes.
Or you just draw a Hive Mind. That's not bad.
That's pretty good. So AJ's gonna force. This is tough actually now.
Well, no, because he forces. If AJ forces and Weston forces back, and then AJ can actually stick Jace next turn, and then has a reasonable shot of being able to Fate Seal him out.
So he just keeps any packs from Weston's hand.
Yeah, ideally. Or it's rough because there's also.
He has an intuition.
Oh, he still has an intuition.
Yeah, he's
left
just
over.
intuition for pacts.
With the mana left over. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he has. Oh, now he definitely has enough. Right. Jeez.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot he had the 3 left over now because he just drew Hive Mind. I had it in my head. It's like he has the intuition Hive Mind sequence.
I really think taking Force of Will was the best play.
Well, Pact also works here, right? It's the same thing in this sequence.
Pact, save, yeah.
It's just one counter.
It's actually kind of better.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. So what do you want to do with me? Intuition's terrible to take.
Yeah.
Can't take.
Well, you
that.
can't. You certainly can't. When he has 2, you can't take one of them.
Yeah. So AJ's was just always basically boned. You're saying?
So wait, why is AJ looking through his deck right now?
I don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know. Oh, because he's got intuition. He's intuition.
Oh, he gets
so
intuition back. Oh, yeah, he gets
Yeah.
intuition back because the hive mind copies everything, right?
So he's getting Force of Wills. Okay, so Weston's gonna get pacts, right? And then AJ's gonna force the pacts, and then Weston's gonna copy the forces.
Yeah. And force the force.
Force the force.
Yeah.
And then AJ's gonna get stuck with a pact. That's what's gonna happen, right?
Right.
That's just.
He's 1 mana short of being able to pay with Deathrite Shaman. Okay, yeah, and there it is.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, once Hive Mind is in play, it's basically impossible to win any sort of counter war over anything anymore.
That was an ideal pull.
It wasn't a bad draw. It was not a shabby draw.
So sideboards. AJ Spell Pierce.
Well, before we do that,
Oh,
a little piece of trivia.
All right, we have one from earlier in the coverage. Let's say there's a creature that you wouldn't want to pick up with Chase of the Mind Sculptor.
No,
Like,
we
really,
can't,
no.
Again, we can't presuppose people have been watching the coverage all day. People hop in for a little bit, go run some errands, spend time with the kids, whatever. So it's got to be something a little more immediacy to it. A little more immediacy to it.
So you got a better thing? You're just blank.
Dude, I've cranked out most of these questions. You gotta pull your weight a little.
All right,
bit.
I have a good one.
Okay.
My coverage teammate here is a connoisseur of a certain type of card. Has been commented on over and over again over the course of this weekend. So always knows where the art of a certain type of card has come from, what set. So say what type of card that is.
So what type of card have I been able to identify the sets of?
Of almost every one.
As they come into play.
It's a very specific type.
Hashtag the SCG Premium for 3 months of premium. This one's also fairly easy because there's usually only one card type that's associated with having numerous
different iterations
of art. So the answer, like a lot of Jeopardy questions, the answer is sort of hidden in the question.
Is that true for Jeopardy?
Or the question's hidden in the answer, I guess, because it's phrased as in the form of a question. Anywho,
just say what it is.
sideboard time. On the show and tell side, the Hive Mind side of things, we have 3 copies of Defense Grid, very good against counter spells. A Red Blast, 2 Flusterstorms, so he has a little more action if he wants to fight some counter spell wars. He has another copy of Volcanic Island, presumably to bring in when he's also bringing in the Red Elemental Blast, I would assume.
AJ has Counter Spell, Duress, Vendilion Click, Spell Pierce. These are all pretty good. And I actually think Abrupt Decay might get better after sideboarding because of Defense Grid.
Yes, if he's suspected Defense Grid. And he only has 2 to begin with, so it's not hard for him to leave in just the 2. He doesn't have to go...
But what would he take out? Are Planeswalkers weak? Like Liliana?
Well, Liliana definitely stinks.
Do we have to take out some Thought Scours?
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have to cut Goyfs? I mean, we got to find...
You need a way to win.
Yeah, he's got... I mean, Deathrite Shaman, Sacher, Mage Click, these are clocks, but... Yeah, I'm not sure. Again...
I mean, Weston Brown is just peeling the Hive Mind off the top of his deck. You need to make the game as short as possible.
Tarmogoyf wouldn't have been particularly good that game. It would have been in play, tapped or untapped as AJ was dying.
Okay.
It would have been alongside a Titan token.
So we're shipping Tarmogoyf, you're saying?
Yeah, and actually, it's a related to that Pact of the Titan. It's actually, kind of funny. Deathrite Shaman gives sort of another little wrinkle to this matchup in that it's actually now realistic for AJ to pay for packs if the game goes on for a long time. Like usually, one pack of the Titan just locks it up against these sort of decks.
What about Hydroblast? If AJ had Hydroblast, he would have been able to blast the Pact, and no.
It's I mean, if he has a lot of dead weight to cut, then I would consider the Hydroblast. But it's tough to. It's not the right reactive element, and you still have to worry. I mean, he can also just show and telling Emrakul is still a thing that can happen. It's not like Hive Mind's the only dimension this deck has. But yeah, AJ was only 1 land away from being able to actually just pay for Pact of the Titan with his 4 lands and Deathrite Shaman.
So what kind of pacts does Weston have? Pact of the Titan, Slaughter Pact, Summoner's Pact. But he doesn't have the White Pact, right? White pack's tough to pay the upkeep
It's
on.
very challenging.
Very, very tough. First of all, you're playing Legacy, so producing white mana is not always the easiest.
And it's also possible that he wants white Leyline to fight against Click and Thoughtseize. I mean, it's not like a blank against AJ's deck.
Click is excellent in this matchup, right?
Yes. Yes. It is a clock and disruption and information. Kind of a mixture of everything that AJ needs.
But mostly a clock.
Yeah. Well, mostly some disruption. But predominantly some information.
And by that you mean a clock, like a 3-power guy.
Yeah, more or less, yes.
All right, so AJ Sacher presumably going to go first.
Yeah, and he had a fairly good draw. He had Thoughtseize plus Force of Will. Next turn, he was going to be able to Snapcast for Thoughtseize with still a Force of Will left over.
Was that a third turn kill, fourth turn kill?
That was a fourth turn kill because Weston went first. And AJ had 3 lands in play when he died.
Perhaps he was pondering too many brainstorms.
Perhaps. We'll never know.
Okay. AJ with a Led Zeppelin t-shirt and a Star City Games sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Weston with a cross, baseball cap.
Multiple shirts.
He's like armored up.
Yeah.
It's like he started out with a ley line of sanctity. You
You
can't
can't
get
touch
through
this
that.
dude. Are you kidding me? Staring AJ down.
AJ, is he considering shipping this back?
Yeah.
It's not a
AJ.
brainstorm. He loves brainstorm.
It looks like
Wait, is brainstorm Deathray Shaman no lands? Is that it?
he has a basic island.
I think AJ's not going to throw that back. He's very favored to get a second land on that hand. And he has a ponder too. You just get a free shuffle. So like, open on a ponder, maybe get the shuffle, brainstorm up. He's going to see like 7 cards.
Well, the hand still might not do enough, even if he does.
He's a Thoughtseize.
That might not be enough.
I think that he would be hard pressed to ship this one back. One man's opinion. I mean, like you play Legacy, and by you I mean AJ Sacher plays Legacy for hands like this. I mean, look.
Ideally, they have a second land. All right, he's keeping.
Yeah. All right. AJ's like, oh, I actually chose to go second.
Still rather go first.
And ponder. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. No problem.
2 underground season of Thoughtseize is pretty good.
No problem.
Not a shabby ponder.
Can't believe you thought about shipping that back.
I keep one-landers all the time. I'm saying AJ was clearly thinking about it.
I think that, did he put Thoughtseize second and Underground third, or Underground second?
Underground
third?
second.
I think that I like the opposite better. He's going to hit his land drop no matter what next turn, right? Grim Monolith.
Turn 1, City of Traders, Grim Monolith. This is actually threatening a turn 2 kill because an island and hive mind can just do it. You better see what's up. I want to know.
Thoughtseize. What do you got?
Hive mind, Red Blast. Yeah, this is a turn 2 kill, this hand.
Wait, not if he takes the...
Yeah, no, AJ's breaking it up now,
Yeah.
but as constructed, that hand kills on turn 2.
So he's going to take...
You got to take
Hive Mind,
Yeah,
right?
it got to be hive mind.
Presumably. So I'll take the Hive Mind, says AJ Sacher.
Yeah, I'll take the one that kills me and not the one of the 4 that do not.
I'll rip a Hive Mind, says Weston. Right off the tizzy.
And yeah, AJ's hand has, looks like it has Duress and another Thoughtseize coming, so.
So Weston pulls.
Looks like a monolith, is that right?
Tap, another monolith. Shrug, fair. A duress and a... Do you like that? Just
Yeah.
toss that?
Yeah, he needs to cast his Brainstorm just like to find more action and to protect himself against any future discards. And he's not really straining for a sufficient amount of mana now that
Yep, I got you.
the second monolith's
I think he just
resolved.
cast most stuff with his artifact position, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maelstrom Pulse would be wicked in this situation.
It'd be sweet, yeah. Would have been good kind of last game, too.
Had it been fast enough, it was like third turn when AJ died. Right? And he had a basic island. So, yeah, it would have been good, sure. Do you start with Maelstrom Pulse in play? We're playing Commander. I have Maelstrom Pulse in play to start. So, Thoughtseize to open.
I assume this is going to be...
Brainstorm response, sure. Island, Force of Will, and...
Is that a hive mind?
Hope it was not a hive mind for AJ's sake.
Because he dies. Because if that's there, he dies. And now Weston has to figure out a way to, like, basically, if that is hive mind, he wants to... If he puts his pact on top, it's...
Red pact?
If he shows the red pact, it's possible AJ takes it. But if he doesn't show a red pact, then AJ kind of knows what's going on. So it's very, very, very cat and mouse game now that Weston has to play, trying to hide his relevant cards without giving AJ too much information about what's on top of his deck.
I mean, speaking of not enough information, we don't know that last card was hive mind, do we? It's not. It's not a certainty. If AJ had Giga Drowse, he could shut off those monoliths.
Yes.
But Weston would probably just add 6 in response and then untap one of the monoliths.
Yeah.
2 floating, tap the other monolith, untap the other monolith. These tank are pretty hard. I think it must be hive mind, yeah. Like, and he just needs to figure out how he can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that keeping red pact in his hand is just means AJ's probably gonna take it, right?
Right. We're showing Pattern Negation and Red Blast. I mean, if AJ can follow up with another Duress, then I think you're just...
What's that 4th bottom card? Red pact?
Red Pact, yeah.
Well, he should just take red pact.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna duress the
Pattern Negation, yeah.
Think, yeah.
Okay. So does he get to... Was it Hive Mind? No, it
was an island. So 3.
Well, he had an island in hand.
Weston trying to figure out if he can make a hive mind and still have access to his Grim Monoliths at some point.
Or just if he can afford... Yeah, it was Hive Mind. It's going to stick. I don't think AJ has Force. All right, it's in.
And what was Weston's last
Force
card?
of Will. Force of Will.
No, Red Blast.
He has Red Blast. The other card that he hit to Brainstorm was Force of Will.
So, AJ's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's drawing very slim against the top of... it's just going to take him a very long time to cobble together a kill. A lot of his spells are now shut off, too, because they're symmetrical, so any Brainstorm or Thoughtseize, whatever, Weston gets to fire back.
Yeah, Weston's good at picking up that hive mind.
It's sort of funny to me. Like I don't know why he wouldn't have hid red pact underneath the hive mind. Because if your hive mind doesn't resolve there, you're in a ton of trouble regardless. Like you're not close to untapping your monoliths or threatening anything good. So you're basically just you have no choice but to kind of just play your hive mind there.
No, for sure. I think that's definitely correct. But the thing is, if AJ gets 1, 2, 3, 4th land, and then Deathrite Shaman, that's enough to pay for red pact.
That is true.
What's the cancel cost of green pact? GG1, GG2 rather.
Yes.
So that's really tough to, except for he has green mana in his deck, but none in play.
Does he even have... Yeah, he has 1 Summoner's Pact.
Yeah. And then blue pact AJ can cast. Actually, Weston has no... It's not really a kill yet. AJ has green lands in his deck, and if he just plays the Deathrite Shaman, he can just leave it back and
just pay for
pay for stuff. Get like a 4/4. So Jacob Corey has won his match over John/Alex Sittner 2-1. Oh, I like it. AJ's last
just
card.
runs out all the beaters. No
It's a
cards left in
Thoughtseize.
hand, so the Hive Mind firing back doesn't matter too much.
Thoughtseizing Weston's last card. Weston pulls probably Force of Will, right?
Yeah, that's the forcible one, yeah.
So AJ's likely to send with Snapcaster Mage, and then
Start just doming with Deathrite Shaman.
I think so. Polluted Delta. And he's going to remove Pact of the Titan.
Removing Pact of the Titan there, I believe, is an implication that he did not bring in Surgical Extraction.
I think you're correct. 2 again from AJ Sacher puts Weston Brown to 12. Pass. Weston sacrifices Polluted Delta. He's probably going to go get Volcanic Island, I would guess.
Yeah.
No, Basic Island? Have these guys seen each other's deck lists? Yes, right?
Yes.
So, Weston knows that AJ hasn't got Wastelands, right?
Yeah, but I think Weston only has the one red blast, so.
Okay.
Well, I guess it could matter for paying for his own red pact at some point. It's super fringe, but.
Not real. I mean, his plan's probably to untap those monoliths and pay for something. So, he has a Force of Will and what is the other thing? A Counterspell? So he's just loath to cast like a Brainstorm or whatever, which will let
Yeah, it's
AJ
really rough.
cast one.
Yeah.
Read that guy.
He's pretty awesome.
Red Blast is actually pretty bad to cast because then AJ would just copy it and kill the Hive Mind, right?
Correct.
Weston tanking.
Yeah.
Deep in the tank.
I mean, AJ does not have a second green, right? So.
No, so Green Pact is a big problem.
Yeah.
Although AJ would be able to summon Tarmogoyf.
Pretty sweet.
Oh, actually, he would just be able to summon another Deathrite Shaman if that's what happened. Then he would have 2 Deathrite Shamans and be able to pay for Green Pact.
No, because he would just die on that upkeep. Again, it tutors for a green creature.
Oh, it doesn't put it directly in the
Right.
Okay, yeah. That would have been sweet. So, Gitaxian Probe. AJ draws again. Does that just give him a guy? Ooh, a Mind Sculptor is really good. Brainstorm. What is...
He's looking for a green pack to try to win this turn.
So... It has to be a green pact, right? Like a Slaughter Pact, AJ can pay for easily.
Yeah.
And a red pact he can pay for right now. AJ's tapping you. And Spell Piercing.
The Brainstorm.
I kind of like that.
So, Weston will Spell Pierce back, pay for it, and yeah, now it's countered.
I like it a lot.
Pretty awesome.
And AJ's gonna brain him for 2, is that right?
Yep.
Takes out Pact of Negation. Untapping. So Weston's down to 9. That's a pretty good. So if AJ does 2 via attacking here, 2 via Deathrite Shaman, that will put Weston to 7. That's different. 4. That'll put him to 3.
Yeah, you can also stick Jace this turn in Fate Seal.
That's probably pretty good.
Since Weston is basically on what appears to be just just Summoning Pact.
So all I have to do is make sure Summoning Pact's not on top. Right?
Basically, yeah.
So
Looks like maybe some discrepancy in the life total. Quickly trying to get this resolved.
all right, agree.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're right. I think AJ will probably just play Jace the Mind Sculptor and make sure that lethality is just not on top.
Well, no, not if that attack only knocked him down to 7, then it's a 2-turn clock. He's probably just going to EOT, play his 2 Snapcasters, and
I'll beat for lethal.
yeah.
So Weston, Volcanic Island,
So AJ should probably just
Snapcaster.
just cast them. Don't even bother.
No, certainly don't cast up from Ben. That can just get you in trouble. So that's going to put Weston to 5.
Yeah, now we have lethal. Yep, and there it is.
Wow! Even though Hive Mind resolved, it was on the table,
Yeah,
on the
AJ
field of battle.
Yeah, AJ, it was a pretty narrow window that Weston actually had to do anything with it, though. Besides Summoning Pact, none of his other packs even worked.
Yeah, Deathrite Shaman. It really just does everything.
Yeah, what doesn't it do? Even in a non-graveyard-oriented matchup. Makes some red mana, too. I mean, insane.
So I actually thought that AJ was a pretty heavy favorite in this matchup. But then, that game 1 loss might have changed things, and AJ is going to be going second in game 3. So Hive Mind is not quick enough to win on turn 1, is it?
You can go. I'm trying to think. I don't think you have any ways to make colored mana for free. So you can't show and tell or cast Hive Mind on the first turn.
So if you get like a Mox, you go like
Mox show and
Mox,
tell.
show and
Yeah.
tell, kill you again.
Although his hand that game was lethal on turn 2. Yeah, the turn 2 kill on that hand.
Luckily, AJ had like 100 Thought Seizes and Duress.
Yeah. And that's a really important thing, I think, about fighting the combo decks in Legacy. Most of them have sideboard action. I mean, you look at Weston's deck, he has both Leyline and Defense Grid. He can cover himself against heavy discard or heavy permission, as the case may be. But AJ has a mixture of these two things, and so neither one of Weston's sideboard cards can really protect him against
Everything at once, yeah.
If you try to overload on one resource, it's very dangerous.
So both players going back to the sideboards, rethinking this maybe for game 3. I think it seems like AJ is like, I got it right the first time.
Right. It's probably more attractive for Weston to bring in Flusterstorms on the play because they just do a much better job of protecting him against Thoughtseizes and Duresses than they do on the draw. So on the draw, you can go Thoughtseize, you take a meaningful card, strand your Flusterstorm. Doesn't really do that much now. But on the play, you can use it to try to tag a Duress or a Thoughtseize. Game 3 of the quarterfinals about to kick off. AJ Sacher playing the new cool deck. All the cool kids are playing.
Are they all the cool kids playing it?
A lot of them are.
They're just really enamored of Deathrite Shaman, right?
Yeah,
It's great.
it's very good.
How much does that one cost on Star City Games?
No idea. Sorry if that's. We should have coordinated that a little bit better, so I could be like $9.99 and you're in $9.49 and
I'll
slightly
look up.
played or whatever the case.
Is it on the app?
Presumably.
I'll look it up. Where's my app? Is it
$9.99?
$9.99?
Wow.
I have a lot of store credit. I think I should buy
The
some.
master stroke. Look at that. I just knew.
You're just full of knowledge.
It's incredible. I've been on fire this weekend.
Especially about one certain type of card.
Yeah, for 3 free months of premium. Every just inane factoid has just been like that. What does If Biff Ifrit do? Knew it. What set is that land from? Mercadian Masks. Knew it. So, just firing on all cylinders.
What is the Dharma Initiative? Who are the others?
So yeah, I think this matchup's pretty good for AJ, and the most important recipe just being varied forms of disruption,
and putting a clock on people at the same time. Both Vendilion Click and Snapcaster Mage, to a lesser degree Deathrite Shaman, are both some method of disrupting the Hivemind deck's way to win and ability to put a clock on them, right?
Yes.
So Deathrite Shaman can, as we've seen already, kind of undo what Pact of the Titan does. And, Snapcaster Mage can rebuy a Duress, Spell Pierce.
AJ just leaving. Just gone.
He's just like, mic
I'm
drop.
done.
Mic
Just
drop.
Not interested in playing the third game.
He's coming a certain direction. Maybe he has bathroom break.
Yeah, probably taking a bathroom break.
He's coming over here.
Just wandering over
What's
here.
up?
Yeah, he's taking a little bathroom break. I thought we were gonna have a guest in the booth there momentarily. We could go over the first two games, talk about
Well, what I'm gonna do in the third game is
maybe
leave.
we could talk about that Thoughtseize in game one, whether or not he should have taken Force of Will or Path Negation.
Yeah, well, it probably wouldn't have mattered the way
that it played
Hivemind
out
came out. Yeah.
Didn't really matter all that much. So unlike myself, you are a man who definitely is occasionally charmed by the combo decks of the Legacy format.
I like combo decks, in Legacy.
So, are there any type of combo decks that you especially stay away from or gravitate towards?
I don't think I'd be a big fan of Hivemind personally. I like combo decks where a lot of the thing that I'm most attracted to is speed, and then the second thing I'm most attracted to is ability to attack from multiple angles, like being able to put some sort of thing into play with show and tell and put a different thing into play into show and tell when your opponent might also Emrakul you.
Yeah,
is not. It's like if I were to do that, like a kind of combo deck that I like other than Cephalid Breakfast would be Jerry Thompson's Shoal Intel deck. Have you seen this deck?
Yes.
It's like a Blazing Shoal Infect deck, but you're discarding Progenitus anyway to maybe Blazing Shoal your opponent to death on turn 2. So you could show and tell it, right? And, I'm not normally the biggest fan of show and tell, but say I was playing against Patrick Sullivan, chances of my Blighted Agent actually making it through the red zone ever are low.
I would rather save my money with Progenitus than with Blighted Angel. They're both banks, and I have to deposit one for a long-term investment. Definitely go with Progenitus.
So, I mean, he's probably not going to be able to race a Progenitus if I cast it on turn 2.
Right. It's tough.
10-10.
Better men than me have fallen to the turn 2 Progenitus.
So, in that case, you Progenitus. But in other cases, you Blazing Soul someone to death. So I'd be attracted to that because super fast combo decks are sweet. I also like compactness of combo. So, being able to win with just 2 cards, you pick 2 cards, and especially if they cost a total of 2 or 3 mana together, I'm a big fan of that. Even Entomb Reanimate, depending on Entomb Reanimate Grizzlebrand's pretty good on the first turn, second turn. But I don't know that I'd play that. I actually think that one of the reasons that some of the decks that I like are maybe less attractive than they might have been in the past is just because there's incentives to the format of making a fast Elish Norn, and can't ever beat that with a Blighted Agent or a Cephalid Illusionist. Neither one of those can beat that. How do you feel about a second turn Elish Norn? Just to you, that's just a target for a threat.
Yeah, that's whatever. Cobble together some Searing Blazes and try to take it out, whatever.
All right, AJ Sacher on the draw, Weston Brown presumably on the play. It looks like Weston is shipping back.
Yep.
So AJ used some sort of urinary disruption to Weston. Yeah. Went up for a bathroom break. Weston has the mulligan.
Correlation, 100%.
100% correlation. similar to the cupcake correlation, the cupcake top 8s correlation.
Yep.
You can't argue with science.
Yeah, it's just math. I mean,
100%.
we can't actually argue about this. The facts are indisputable. Look, AJ getting some water, getting ready for his semifinal opponent. Do the same trick.
I mean, if he didn't, it would just be because he was too good.
Right.
It's just like, I don't want to win that way.
Yeah.
Don't you want to win? I don't want to win that way. I already won that way.
Yeah, you get to fire off that bullet once per tournament.
So like, yeah. So to me, like, hive minds is, first of all, its combo catalysts are expensive, and it's, packs are kind of poopy. Like, what if your opponent can pay for it? Like,
Sure.
AJ's in that spot, and it's not so. I mean, I guess Weston could have won in the second turn in game 2.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It sort of like by definition doesn't get that much faster. There's only the first turn.
Dude, that's like a really. That's
He would have been able to do it pack back up. He would have had turn 1, turn 2 with pack.
That's like a circus show. Like you give him like 6 cards that he needs to use all of them. The other decks that can win very fast can do it in like a very compact combination of cards. You're just asking what I like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
What seduction of combo decks do I like? And I like compactness and speed of combo.
Weston has just pondered into a turn 1 ley line of sanctity. A little late to the party here, so I assume that
He's
we will
gonna
be
shuffle that
Yeah, we're
away.
gonna be shuffling that away.
No. The worst would be if you just like peeled it now.
Yeah. A brutal beating. The first turn cantrip into a ley line is going to be infuriating.
I don't know. I've never done that.
Yeah, neither have I.
I assume, though.
Yeah, I assume.
Although, speaking of ley lines, Patrick Chapin and I once played a strategy where like we were just always dead to dredge, but we had Dimir Houseguard. We had like 1 ley line of the void in our sideboard, like not enough to actually have it in our opening hand. But if we weren't dead, we could just like cycle for it, maybe just hardcast it on turn 4 with the fingers crossed.
Yep.
And I never had it in my opening hand, predictably. All right, so AJ opens up with a Thought Scour, targeting himself. Snapcaster Mage, Spell Pierce, and gets, what is this? Deathrite Shaman?
Yeah. He paused there for a second before deciding who he was going to Thought Scour. He ended up Thought Scouring himself because Snapcaster Mage is too big of an incentive. An argument for Thought Scouring Weston is that he has intuition in his deck. So in theory, you can actually break up his you could break up his ability to tutor for something if you got lucky.
And that might be hot, actually. But he also has Emrakul, right? So if you just like flip over Emrakul, then it reloads for the.
Doesn't really matter all that. I mean, the fact that he has Snapcaster in hand means milling himself is just too good. But there's some situations where you would want to consider targeting the hive mind player to break up the 3s.
So shuffle. Weston Brown pulls his card, and he's gonna tap for something, maybe.
Breaking the fetch there is a little curious.
Ponder.
But it's especially, I guess AJ had his own clue delta, but sacking for little upside is dangerous when Deathrite Shaman's in play because it's just more gas. And also when you're doing it without a cantrip, it's signaling a land heavy hand, which is information also.
So AJ actually just spell pierced that Ponder. Do you think Weston's like regretting not playing his second land? Or
not necessarily. He might be happy to bait there. I mean, I'm sure Weston's played against Spell Pierce before. It's not.
Fair enough. And you think AJ's just like trying to get his money where he can with...
Yeah, there's no guarantee that Pierce is going to be good later on.
I can accept that. So, AJ's got a Force of Will.
He's also AJ's a little constrained for mana, so should be sort of erring on the side of casting things.
Intuition.
All right.
AJ removes
Making 3 mana.
A land.
Casting Vendilion Click in response. So this is going to give AJ the information he needs to know if he needs to force it or not. And there's 2 hive minds, so he's going to have to force.
Let's see. So what would Weston have been getting with that intuition? He's got...
No, it's show and tell. It's not intuition. He's trying to show and tell right
Oh,
now.
show and tell. Sorry. Is that hive mind and a pact?
Red Pact, yeah. He has a kill in hand. And he has 2 hive minds, so unless AJ is willing to run the gambit of putting the pact on the bottom and letting him stick a show and tell, or letting him stick a hive mind, he's just going to have to force after.
Well, he's got a 4-turn clock with current resources. It might work.
I think he's just happy to let Weston keep that hand and then force the show.
Force the show and tell.
Although even that's a little dangerous because Weston has a monolith in his hand. He can put the mana together.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, AJ has Abrupt Decay in hand. Okay, so he can kill the monolith before anything too bad happens.
Yeah, so Weston would need a full untap with 3 lands in play to cast Hive Mind
Right.
with that hand.
I think AJ is mulling over what blue
What
card.
to pitch with Force of Will again. And...
Yeah, I think if not for Abrupt Decay, AJ would be forced to take Grim Monolith out of that hand.
tough.
Yeah, but
And it's still like it's almost like a ticking time bomb, right? Like there's, Omar coming.
right. AJ finally settles on pitching his extra Vendilion Click.
Seems like a good idea. It's a legendary creature.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So AJ casting, presumably Thoughtscour.
Yeah. His hand now is 2 Abrupt Decays and a Jace. Abrupt Decay, one of the worst draws you could have had there. Finds a
And
Ponder.
he can't really use it now.
I think he's committed to just Abrupt Decaying the Monolith.
Well, actually, he could ponder and then hope to hit a land. And he still has a window the next turn if Weston plays the Grim Monolith and AJ hit anyway, right?
Yeah. I guess AJ still needs to find more disruptive elements too, because he's still he's dead to show and tell right now if Weston has it. Yeah, AJ's not out of the woods yet by any stretch.
In for 3, puts Weston down to 16.
Yeah. Does a 2-mana land do it? A 2-mana land also is a kill, I think.
2-mana land, 2. Yes, a 2-mana land
God.
will do it.
And that's City of Traders.
Probably should have pushed the pack then.
That's it. I mean, AJ's just dead now.
Red pact. So
Yeah, that's just it.
AJ let him keep the hand, right, with the Vendetta
Yeah.
click?
And Weston, you can tell, you can look on his face, he knows that AJ doesn't have Forcible, doesn't have. That's it. Yep.
There's the hand.
Weston Brown, 2-1 over AJ Sacher.
Some nice pulls in that match.
He's got a lot of things to pull there.
Yeah.
He's done another Monolith, a 2-mana land. No, another Monolith,